Aditi, you can admit it's 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. We'll just take 1 or 2 minutes to let a few people join and then start. So, be with us.
Oi.
Okay, I think let's at least start the conversation, and then as people join, they can keep joining us. So welcome everybody, and thank you so much for being here, Gaurav, to talk to all of us in this deep dive. Before we start, I'll just go over a couple of things. Today, we have to do a hard stop at 6:50. So if there are any questions left post that, then we will ensure that they get answered. We'll send them to Gaurav and get you answers for those. Other than that, I would request that you stay on mute while Gaurav is talking, because it's just that otherwise his voice won't be audible. And then the moment he's done and we open out the questions, we'll let you guys throw your questions in. While he's talking, if there are questions coming to your mind, then please write them on the chat so that later when we get to the question answer part, we can start asking Gaurav those questions. Okay, so then I think let's start by talking to Gaurav. So welcome, Gaurav. And I think I wanted to start my questions with, I know you have a presentation for us and we will just get to that and you can start sharing it whenever you feel. But I just wanted to start off by, I heard in your, in the panel dialogue, you had spoken about how you went about skilling yourself and getting to know more because you just traveled, met different people, worked with different organizations and figured out, and eventually then landed at Afforestation. So I think building from that, I wanted to ask you that people here, if they're interested in this similar journey, if they want to do something like what you're doing, what is it that they can do? How can they skill themselves? What are some organizations, if you could suggest? So something along those lines, if you could start with.
Sure. So I think we had this concept at Swaraj University, like I got introduced there. It was called Eklavya time, and it was called Eklavya time. And Eklavya time was meant that we were supposed to choose our own guru and spend 3 days with him, her, it, whatever it is, and then learn few things. And then we were supposed to come back together, and then we used to present what skills we have learned. So the idea of like just the confidence of equipping ourselves with skill and choosing our own master, be it a tree, be it an ant or an insect or a or a some person. Like I went in Udaipur, a person who was sitting on roadside and he used to carve stone statues, small statues. So I went there, sat on road for 3 days. Every day morning 8 a.m. I used to go there and sit there till 6 p.m. And then I used to like learn that carving. So that these are some of the examples, these are some of the types of things that I have done. So it need not be an organization where you will be writing an application and they will be accepting you or that kind of stuff. I think knowledge is all around us, and it's available free of cost. Like consider a internet, consider you just type any course, all the courses, structural knowledge or non-structural knowledge. I think it's out there just waiting to be received by, if you have that like will of reception. So all the farms that I've been going, and most of the time, the purpose was exactly something else to go there, and then I came out with completely different set of skills there, because when you go there, so and the life is that ever changing. So if someone tells you, okay, acquire this skill because these are the skills that will be required in next 5 years, so you can set your career, either he's lying or he's just joking, because even he himself wouldn't know that what are the skills that will be required. The only thing we know is that we'll have to keep equipping ourselves with the new skills all the time, and that is how you will navigate in the process. So it's not just limited. So the time of experts, I think, have passed away, and we need more generalists, which people who could see holistic picture and do things. So even if you have a hair and you can just peel it off all like onion and you will get to nothing. But if you have that holistic picture, like all the animals, all the species is in that very delicate balance which is existing on earth. And when that same knowledge, same wisdom of quantum mechanics, if a tribal person tells you that, or if a person who rears a goat tells you that, people don't take him seriously. But it is like you go to a Harvard, but the same set of knowledge will also be available with the person who have been rearing goats for like last 40 years of his life. So I chose these gurus very wisely, because I could claim that my decisions have been good in that case, because I have been working with tribals, people who are really building these forts of Rajasthan, people who have been really growing our food, the millets and all that natural farming. So we are like, the real source of knowledge is out there. And I think it's just by looking, you can approach people, you can ask for learning. And like one experience I'll tell you, which happened with me when I came here at Maruan, and I wanted to tell people, the village people, that you have like so good set of skills that you can make a hut out of completely natural materials, not using even a single metal wire or a single iron nail, and you are making a hut. But they are so reluctant, and they have been so ridiculed all the time, that they are so unsure of sharing their knowledge, because they don't think it's worthful, because everybody is going for a pakka house. And if you tell someone, okay, this is how you make a झोपड़ी के, okay, बना लेना यार तेरे लिए, मतलब मेरे को तो पक्का घर चाहिए. तो उस तरीके का attitude, तो so that kind of disconnect is already there, like when you come from city and when you talk to village. So but right now I have been living 2 years. Before that I was talking all of these things, same thing. But right now for 2 years I have been living in the desert. I've been seeing the real hand experiences of how it feels to live in a desert. Like we don't keep fans here. Uh, uh, just because we have 15 to 20 sparrows living in our hall. I'll show you the photos in the deep dive. But these are the wisdoms that people have been living, and how to create these coexistential habitats. These are all set of skills, and if someone would need that skill, he will find you. I don't have any resume. I have not made any like my LinkedIn account is not active from last 7 years. You will find the same old stuff which was there 7 years ago. And I just had a Facebook account, and all the things that I do, I've been posting it there, my updates from last several years. And all the work, all the jobs, all the like celebrity contacts that people have reached me out from the Facebook itself. So it's all there. So you could take, if you have those skills, you will definitely, people will come out to reach you, to find you. But your set of skills has to be of that particular level.
This is a banda. Forester.
Thank you. It makes actually so much sense. And thank you for saying that. My next question is just around a little bit around the financial aspect of being in this space. So, um, is your work, what you do with a forest, is that what keeps you financially sustainable, or are you doing are there other means through which there are other livelihoods through which you cater to those financial needs? Something, because it's on everyone's mind usually, that if we choose this path, how would we sustain ourselves? So just if you could talk about yourself and how you do that.
Yes. So I'll share a very interesting incident that happened with me, which basically changed my perspective of money. Like, how do I see money? So I was working with a firm, and we had some misunderstanding, and like I hadn't, like, they used to pay me checks. So I was very like casual with the money. So those checks, I was having some savings, so I was just keeping those checks. I didn't encash them for last 6 months of those paychecks. So at the end we had some misunderstanding, and he blocked that account, so I couldn't withdraw like my 6 or 7 month salary, which the checks were with me. So I had some issues, and I was very frustrated. Okay, they have like taken my money, they are bullying me, and all that stuff. So I was very stressed, very nervous. So I went to Manish Bhaiya, who's the owner of Shikshantar and founder of Shikshantar. So I went there, and I was having a very long conversation. I was just ranting it out. कि, okay, this world is so bad, and आप कहते रहते हो दुनिया इतनी अच्छी है, अच्छे लोग मिलते हैं, ये होता है, वो होता है, मेरे तो सारे पैसे खा गए. And so I was very nervous. So he reminded me, and there was one incident, one short statement he made, and that statement like removed the ground from beneath my foot. So I was just like stunned, like how can this man say these things? Like where does it come in his head? So he told me that uh, see, when I joined Swaraj, I wasn't having any money. So I joined Swaraj. So somebody else, I don't know who, paid my fees. I have no idea who paid my fees. So, and in exchange, I was working with Swaraj. And so there was a lot of these things, and they never asked me for money. And when Manish Bhaiya reminded me, Acha, do you remember who paid your fees? नहीं, तो वो तो कोई बहुत अच्छा आदमी होगा. तो बोले कि तू भी किसी के लिए अच्छा बन जा, तू भी किसी को दे दे, मतलब. तो वो that initial, it was something, precisely it was something else, but that sense of it, and that like the narrative, the perspective of seeing that someone has looted me was completely changed. So then I basically started, then we had a very intense like 3 or 4 hours conversation till like 2 a.m. in the night, and we were sitting there. And then out when I came out of that conversation, I realized it's not just about money that I should seek for. So if I am in a job, if I am working and sharing a gift with people and getting something in return, it has to be something which makes us alive. Or it's not just about money, like where are you getting chance to live, how much free time are you getting to work on your own things, and like if at all like if there is a work office time, like okay, 9 to 5 you'll have to be in office, or it could be some independent job or something. So all these things I started to take in account then. So then I decided, okay, I'll join something. So then I started narrowing down my okay, at least this I won't work. So I wouldn't work in a corporate. Then I decided that. Then I basically joined another organization where they wouldn't allow me to, they wouldn't force me to wear pants. Like I don't like wearing jeans, and like hot Delhi summers, and you have to wear jeans or a formal. So I chose office which would allow me to work in shorts or work in outdoors or sandals. So I keep, like I was very choosy in like doing. So I was sitting not doing anything for several months, but I never joined something for the sake of joining. Okay, right, something, this will pass out, I'll figure out what to do. So that's how I kept choosing the organizations, my bosses, my mentors. So it was more of mentors that I've been choosing to work with rather than the bosses or offices. Because it's not just about like okay, अब job लग गई, अब settle हो गए. तो ये होता नहीं है. आपको constantly skills के ऊपर काम करते रहना पड़ेगा, वरना आप भी बोर हो जाओगे. मतलब आप कितना एक ही काम करोगे. तो वो that has to be in that sense कि मतलब आप किस तरीके से और अच्छे अपने आप को बना सको, और पैसे के अलावा आपको कहाँ रहने को मिल रहा है, आपको क्या फैसिलिटीज मिल रही है, आपको फ्री टाइम घर पे रहने का कितना मिल रहा है. I think these all things has to be considered when you join a job or when you choose a career. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That is so important because actually that's what our yesterday's theme also of our livelihoods was, which was about what is real wealth? Like, is it just money or is it all everything else we collect along the way? And so thank you for bringing that out. That was very beautiful. So my next question is more around the scope of work. And before the call started, you said you would like to share a presentation because you will talk about how there's a different career lines that can be formed. And that actually is my question. What is the scope of work in this space? So I think maybe you could share your presentation or talk about however you want to do this and tell everyone what possibilities for them there are.
So currently, for where I work, Forest, it's we are 12 team members, and all of them live in their cities, like they live in their hometowns. We don't have any head office. We don't have any 9 to 5 job. Whenever there is a project, we like form teams. Like one person is coming from Delhi, one from Jodhpur, going to Beirut, Lebanon, or anywhere in the globe, completing that project and then coming back to where you usually live. So this is the setup. All our work happens on like WhatsApp and Gmail. Like I've been in a forest, and it could be a possibility that we have like some of my team members I have met just once. So it's global, it's scattered, but everybody is free to wherever they are, choose wherever they live. And so I and Varsha, my partner, we both live here, which is a forest research site, and we have been living here for 2 years. So, and regarding the work that I do is like scattered in multiple disciplines, because I've been working with architects also. I've been documenting all the fort constructions, the lime construction, eco construction details of Rajasthan. I'm into like wildlife rescue and that kind of stuff. I've been growing forest. I've been living into forest and collecting rare seeds and then getting a nursery. So this setup, the presentation that I'm showing you, it encompasses all these tasks, but these are also an independent career, which nobody will tell you, or you can't learn that in any college. The best part of being in such kind of field is basically uh, that you get to choose your own designation. So I, though like didn't wanted to use expert, but in like professional field, like expert is more valued. So they gave me jungle tree expert, but that kind of designation does not exist. So if you if you are not trained or by any structure that you, okay, I will do this course and then I can get this job, so you all can forget that that is going to happen in coming future, because the disciplinaries will like intermingle with among them like each other. You can't separate biology from physics, you can't separate mathematics from biology. So it will all be biomechanical AI age that will be coming. So you'll have to be uh, in the same way, you will have to have those skills, like you will have to learn the carpentry as well as the iron welding work, as well as how to grow your own food. So it's a fight between like earlier it was a Y2K generation, so it doesn't work like that anymore. So this has been, so I'll quickly run through my presentation. It will give you a basic idea of like what exactly my day looks like, or what I usually do when I'm living here, all these things, like year round timetable of it. So one second. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a hand-drawn first drawing that we made of Maruan. So this is it is situated on the, like it's sandwiched between two seasonal rivers. So rivers flow only when there is a good amount of rain, which happens usually in 3 to 4 years, like once in 3 to 4 years. So these, the white basins that you see, are the two seasonal rivers, and the tree density in the area is like 1 tree, 2 tree per acre. And the white color thing that you see is the salt deposition happening over on entire land. This is how the land basically looked like when we started with it, like completely degraded. And in 1979, there were massive flash floods which had killed thousands of people in this area and wiped clean this entire area of its vegetation. These are some of the old trees. We documented old trees in the area which were still remaining. So this is a miswak tree. You might have heard of like a toothpaste. So this is that tree which stick is used. These are almost 100 to 150-year-old trees which were in that area. So this is me with a bucket of seed balls. We started with like this native grasses of seed balls. We have like abandoned cow shed. We don't take out any milk from any of the cows. These are just for the cow dung and cow urine, and we are developing grasslands as well for them. These are the books that we, literature that we referred. So Aaj Bhi Khare Talab, Anupam Mishra ji, the legend is no more, but he has worked extensively on water conservation structures. So we, because there was no amount of water, like underground water was saline, there's very scanty rainfall, there's no source of water for us. So we studied these water harvesting structures of Rajasthan. The middle book is a very old poetic literature. These are just poems, but written on trees of that time. So it was like written 70 to 80 years ago on the trees, like which butterflies visits which tree in which season, which bird visit which tree. So we learned things from this book, and another one is an academic book of this desert flora. These are some of the water harvesting structures that we studied in Rajasthan. Even in the rainfall of like 100 per year, these could provide you with like drinking water availability. This is our hand dug well being dug. So this is innovation that happened on this land. This is called Sajjaga Kua. It came out from the that Aaj Bhi Khare Talab study, and we made this, and this is only 22 feet deep. And if we would have gone any deeper, the entire water would have become saline. So this is a not underground water. This is a subsoil water that gets collected in association with a pond. So it has a pond adjacent to it, and we have made a well like this. And this is the water that we are using. It's not exactly sweet water, but this is the water which can be used for plantation, and you could also drink it sometimes. So this is how it looked when we started with it. It was hand dug, and this is how it looks here. We started making mud bricks, and these are all like disciplines in itself. The mud architecture, making a well, making an open well, it's a skill in itself, and there are people specially employed for this. So then we started making these earthen structures. These are the native fences. We started making ropes from the same grass. These are the native shrubs of keep that are available in abundance. We started making structures like this. So not a single metal wire or metal nail was used to build these structures, because the temperatures were so high. We couldn't sit under the shade of the tree because even the leaves have been dropped during summers. So we started creating these structures. So these are the ropes made from same shrub, and we tied our huts using this rope. These are some of the color pigments, natural pigments, and natural plasters we experimented with, which would be waterproof. And these are some of the first structures that we made to sit under shade. These structures. These are native seeds. Again, we made seed balls, and we collected few more seeds from around like whatever trees we could find growing natively on this patch of land. We collected seeds from them. And so this is So she's our master seed saver. So she basically come here, helps us, and she is working with all the food preservation. So the one on the tree, the climbing on the tree, you could see is her. Like even I couldn't climb that like that fast how she did, and she's a mother of four, and like you could see her just like climbing stairs. She could climb trees and like harvest all the seeds. And so she takes care of all the initiatives of seed saving and these structures. These are more seeds that we collected. This is our seed bank display that we have. It's right in front of me from here in this hall. And we started, then basically we started collecting more of wild food. So these are the foods which are not farmed, but in monsoons they grow on their own. And these kinds of food are abundance in desert. So all the desert people, even if you come right now in their houses are stocked up with food for year or 2 year, like that. Even richest person wouldn't have that feasibility. But living in the middle of the desert, they have so much food because the timing to collect these foods when they come only for 2 months is so precise. And there, because this was the land of scarcity, both of water and both of food. So the techniques of conserving water and techniques of preserving food are so advanced in these areas that right now at Maruan we have like a year-round of food just collected from the wild in the campus around us, and we didn't farm a single millet or a single thing that we would grow. We did grow some of the vegetables of heirloom varieties. These are some of the heirloom varieties, vegetables that we are growing here. These are wild watermelons and wild mushrooms that grow here on the campus. We eat them, we enjoy. And these are some of the, if you been to Rajasthan, you might have heard of Kair ka achar. So this is that Kair growing wild. So we collect them, sangri, khejri tree, you might have all heard. So we preserve these fruits for year-long use, and we eat them. These are some of old techniques like a hand chakki. So it's another technique of preserving food. This is the hall I am sitting right now. This is how it looked when we started with it. It was an abandoned old school that we took this place and we changed it to like this. I have recently started pottery. So on the table, you could see like we have taken like all the utensils that we use, cup plates and everything. We'll be making on our own. So like we are starting that as well. This is the same place here. This is how this hall basically looks like. So these in all the curtains that you see in the background is are from my marriage. Like your Rajasthani marriage, you might have seen all the people wear this colorful headgears. So these are those things. We converted them into curtains. In the background, you could see seed bank display that I showed you right behind the table tennis table. And this is how the setup looks. This is Varsha, my partner. She's doing this mandala, and the big mandala is right in my background, which you are seeing. This is our room. This is how it looks. We have plastered entirely the walls up till 7 feet. We have plastered with mud and cow dung. The floor is completely done with mud and cow dung. And okay, so this was about the hall. That like this is the life kind of life I this is the kind of house right now I live in. Just to give you a little motivation to work towards that, and you can actually do that. So this was our land, the first drawing of our land. So open well, where it is written open well with a black dot. This is the same well that I showed you. And the pond that you see here, spillover. So that's one done. And those two ponds, water input where it is written, we are going to like whenever the next phase of construction and more funding, we'll do that. So we are basically equipping this entire land with a network of ponds and canals and forests and habitable zones. So this entire area is permanently hydrated, and we can grow. So this will be a community that will be coming up, intermixed with ponds, nadi systems of Rajasthan, natural houses and forests. This is how it looked when we started construction of our first pond. The white deposition that you see is the salt, And these are the extremely saline water puddles that existed on land. No animal could drink this water; it will die, and no, it can't be given to plants. All the greenery that you see in the background is the non-native species, which is invasive here and has taken over and not allowing native species to grow. This is how we started digging out few canals and channels to collect rainwater. And we were not sure, because this place is so sandy, as you can see. If we would take out one bucket, 4 buckets would come down in this channel. So we were not sure if the runoff water would flow, because sand would absorb all the water. Yet we created these kinds of channels based on contours on our land. And this was the photo of the first rain that we were expecting. All the greenery in the background you see are mostly the non-native species which have taken over the entire land. This is how it rains here. It's very fast, it's very torrential, but for very short duration of time. So if you are able to get conditions right in that area, you could collect a lot of water. So this was the amount of water that got collected after the first rains. These are those same channels which I showed you being dug by the earth mover. The water was flowing through it. This was a very interesting video for us, because this is a completely sandy grassland, and the rainwater was flowing over it. So all of this water which was flowing was collected, channeled, and collected to the same pond that I basically showed you. This is the amount of water. Our dogs, Gajab Singh and Lali, they saw this much amount of water for the first time, and they were like sitting there howling all the time, because they haven't seen so much amount of water in the campus. So this is the same patch of land, the white patch that I showed you. This is how it looked when it was full. Evenings look like this. We had 4 to 5 months of good swimming sessions every evening on our land in the middle of the desert. Uh, One interesting thing that happened was, like, when we created this pond, a lot of water birds like kingfishers, egrets, and other migratory birds came, halted in our pond, and they got fishes in their mouth, and they dropped these live fishes in our pond, and that's how fishes got multiplied. And these are our dogs, Lali and Gajab Singh. They are having their breakfast of having fishes in the morning. This was the first group that we have. We also provide trainings. So that's also one part of the revenue, where the revenue comes from. This is a group from Netherlands which got funding of creating 100 such forests across Europe. So 17 of them came, and each one of them was supposed to go back to Europe and create 4 or 5 forests. So till now, they have already created 80 forests, and the work on them is going on further. This was the second group, Eco Sikh organization, which is a Punjab-based organization. They came here for training with us. They planted a small Guru Nanak sacred forest. So Guru Nanak Sacred Forest was the initiative to honor 550th anniversary of Guru Nanak Ji last November. So we collaborated with them, and we decided, okay, all they wanted to plant around 10 million trees. So we told them, okay, instead of planting individual trees, let's plant small forests. So that was decided, okay, each forest will be of 550, a symbolic gesture to the 550th anniversary, and 550 trees will form that small chunk of forest. So all these, like, till now, over 150 forests have been planted all across the gurudwaras and farmhouses and private lands, like Punjab engineering colleges and different setups. So this was the second group that came to us for training.
Gaurav, sorry to interrupt you. I just had one question. So basically, I just thought that it's already, we're at 6:35. So I just thought if we can take a pause on this presentation for a second and just see if there are any questions people have. And if not, we can always revert to this.
Sure. This is like already done. So I'm in the last part.
Okay, then you can finish it. Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, these are the some before and after photos. You will get the latest photos on our social media channels. This is the old setup. This is how the land looked. This is a like 1 year old photo. This is a photo from Feb 2020, and this is how the huts that we constructed looks like. And this is the forest in the background that is coming up nice and slow in the desert. These are some of the wildlife. So when we removed non-native species, a particular species of grass came back, and because of that grass, weaver birds returned to our land after 40 years. And that was a big surprise for us, like how small changes can like bring drastic changes. On the right is the desert gerbil. We had like massive termite attack on our forest. A lot of people told us that there will be termites eating up your plants, but we didn't do anything. We let termites kill few of our plants, but when the population peaked up, these desert gerbils came from nowhere and like balanced out these termites and killed them. These are some of the other wildlife, the ecosystem. In the desert gerbils were more, we had snakes and peacocks coming up to balance them out. So right now we have like 15 to 20 peacocks, 3 or 4 snakes, mongoose, a wild hare, and a few other species that are living in the small patch of forest that we planted in this desert. These are some of the insects. Other photos, wildlife. These are the monitor lizards that we have in our forest. These are some of the bees, other insects, butterflies that have been documented. These are the democile cranes, migratory birds taking a halt at our pond that we created. They stayed here for a week and then continued on their journey. Rajasthan is famous for these birds, like coming to Rajasthan from Russia and Siberia. These are the actual people who have been doing this work. I've been just storytelling, but these are the actual people who have been doing all of this work.
So someone has a question.
Okay, so this has been my work.
Okay, great. No, I wanted to ask you because you were showing these photos and we've got a question here saying, is there any volunteering or learning program that you offer?
Yes, we are planning to do that. We are developing our residential facilities so that we can, like currently we could accommodate 5 people here. And in the winter season, we are going to start few of the activities of planting a small forest and also building some of the natural hut structures in the campus. But yeah, we are definitely working on it to increase the residential area, and the work is a bit slow because we have bounded ourselves that we'll be only constructing natural habitats and not the general construction. So that is going on.
Great. I would love to ask people if you have questions. It would be really nice if you could unmute yourself, come on video and ask your questions. Anybody has any question to ask? Yes, Lokesh, please go ahead.
Hi Gaurav. So I was listening to you before this session, and you told that you were on a 15 days vacation, and that turned out to be a 1 month and a half in Auroville, and later then you traveled for a year or so. So what were the reservations did you have before this, and how did you deal with your family?
Yeah. So yeah, I basically cut contact with them, and like it was one day when my mother was so angry and she somehow got number of Manish Bhaiya, and she called Manish Bhaiya and told के आपने मेरे बेटे को बर्बाद कर दिया है, उसको कहाँ भेज दिया, वो बात भी नहीं करता और आप पूरा उसको बहका रहे हो, ये कर रहे हो. So then Manish Bhaiya basically came to me, अरे यार तू घर पे बात नहीं करता, बात तो क्या कर घर पे. और so it was that kind of stuff, and that time phones were not that active, and even the places I was visiting was not so much in the network. So most of the time I was traveling to a Himachal or South or some places where network or like the life itself is so busy in these things when you are learning skills that you don't like to look at your phone. Like if you are doing a pottery or if you are building a roof or a thatch, you would always keep your phone, and like by the time day ends you are already so tired that you don't and even if you think of your family, you the mostly those insights come to your mind that okay, they are going to again be worried and asking what are you doing and come back and all that. So it's better not to call. But on the later stage I realized it was basically my underconfidence in myself that I was blaming on parents that they are pestering me and everything. They were wanting me good, and I wasn't clear in explaining like what I wanted to do in life because I wasn't sure at that time. So that realization at that time, of course, I was very aggressive, and like I used to cut contacts, switch off my phone for like 3 or 4 months. I'm not talking to them. Like once in 3 or 4 months, I'm calling them. But in later on, like it was, I realized that it was lack of my own clarity and confidence in myself, which I couldn't like communicate. And that is why I was finding people, like I was trying to find support in Swaraj or the peers that I had or the network that I had. But I think now I look back at it, I could like easily tell what was going through. But when you are going through it, like the situation is very different. You can't, like, you only understand things when you look back. Right at the present, you things don't make sense that much. But I think I was the best advice that I have got, like in choosing my career or like how to live my life. Like I was in Goa once with this mentor called Samir Guglani. So he's a startup guru. So he called all the, so he came to Swaraj for a session, and then he had like a massive hip hop party in Goa where he called all the co-founders, and there was like a lot of chill happening on the beach. So he called me because I used to like make good hookahs. So so he invited me to that party for a few days. So, and there we, like I had a discussion with him, and after 3 or 4 hours of discussion, he told me that you should never do your own business or never set up your own enterprise. Because, and during that conversation I realized that I am something which would be very specific in choosing what I love. And if I'm given something else, I either I would like make bad of that work, or like that wouldn't, like I would be disinterested and I wouldn't be able to give that work. So even if I want to grow forest, but I don't want to start my own company to grow forest, because to open a company to grow forest, the most of the work is the administration, not the growing forest and managing the employees. So I think that was my most sane advice, or the most like sane advice that I've got, that not to open your entrepreneurship business based on like how I am or how I approach life. It is not applicable to all the people. So what is applicable to all the people is to learn what exactly they don't want to do, and then basically keep on figuring out what you want to do. If you like, it's a not doing something and figuring out not you what you not want to do is like more priority to me. And then like I have been into wildlife photography. I have been, like, right now I'm learning filmmaking and pottery, both, apart from growing a forest. And in terms of finances, like when I came out of Swaraj, I used to earn from organic farming consultancy. So I used to, like, I had few clients who used to take me in good cars to their farms and pay me for day visits. So I was very happy, very young, 22, 23 years of age, getting some money. And like big farmers like in Fortuner, they are coming to me and taking me to their farms and asking me what to do. So I was very happy. And then basically, after farming, I started earning from growing forests. I was working for different organizations. So when I was getting my money from growing forests, so I started giving this knowledge for free, this consultancy. So still a lot of farmers come to me. I go to their farm, I advise them, but I don't charge anything from them, because I have certain set of money which is like keeping me afloat. And like I have a good life. I don't need to earn more because I have free time. I value time more. So all day I wake up like very late. I sleep at very night because the deserts are beautiful at night. So I sleep at 2 or 3, watching stars, doing pottery sometimes all night, wake up late. So I value these things more compared to money. And when I started earning from a forest, so all these things of like a permaculture thing that I do, like design entire farms of like designing earthwork structures and growing farming. So that I now consult for free. Like if anybody wants, I guide them. So there are several farms that are coming up in Pakistan, in Lebanon, to which I am providing the consultancy or the work or guidance that are going, and the earning that comes from growing hardcore native forests with a forest, and other things keep on going. Like I keep on learning different skills, and I don't know how it will be applicable. Like I didn't know if I'm learning architecture, some basic fear is that if I'm learning this and if it will be helpful, if it will allow me to earn or not. So those are the basic questions that come during that time. So at that time, I was very sure that I don't want to make houses for others, and I just wanted to make it for myself. But right now, I am here. I'm also designing houses. I'm also designing compost toilets. I'm working on food preservation techniques, seed preservation techniques, and simultaneously growing forests. So all these, if you keep gathering these skills, in future you will be a more robust a system. Like if a tree is having multiple set of microbes, he's more immune to resistance to diseases and everything. So if you have set of more and more hardcore hands-on skills, you will be more easily, you will be able to navigate like what is coming in the future.
Manita, I have one more question. I mean, it would be quick. Can I ask? I know there are a lot of questions here, but can I?
Can you write your question in chat? Let's give someone else a chance and we'll get your question answered. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Lokesh. Anybody else who wants to ask a question, please unmute yourself and come on camera. Yes. Pranchal?
Hello.
Panchal. I'm Pooja Panchal. So I just heard Gaurav saying that he's learning pottery, and I'm really interested in learning pottery. So what are your guidelines about what equipment I should take, or what clay should be used, or how I should go about it? Because I've really been interested. I'm an engineer actually, and I left my job, and it's been now 7 years. I've been exploring myself as a spiritual person, and I've been interested in learning pottery, but somehow don't know how to go about it. So if you can just guide me about it.
So I'll just tell you how did I go about it. I watched some good videos which were really motivational on YouTube, and that got me कि यार why not pottery, ये तो करना चाहिए और मेरे खुद के बर्तन मैं खुद क्यों नहीं बना सकता. So I just went outside on the campus. I discovered that we have loads of clay on our land, and 3 or 4 different types of clay on our land. One is black, one is black. One is black soil, one black pond soil, which is a good clay for making pots. And another one is the white clay. So that is also available. It's called murad clay in local language. And that was used to make waterproof roofs on this forts and like Havelis of Rajasthan that you have seen. The rooftops were made of this material, and there's a specific type which has quartz in it. So when I make a pottery here, it has like gold shines, like small particles of gold shine because it has quartz. So I started right from basic. I dig my own clay. I just strained it. I made different mixtures of like the straining level. One is very fine, one is little with sand. So if it's a big pot, I mix it with more gravels and sand to provide sturdiness. If it's a small sculpture, I strain it very well because it's more, the clay becomes more malleable. So yeah, I haven't read much of the books or just the inspiration videos where the Korean pottery guys, like a good music, they do some amazing, magnificent work. And then just I sat there and just started kneading. I don't have any wheel. I just have a small turntable which I made using 2 like dumbbell barbells and putting a bearing between it so it could rotate easily. So I have that. I'm in process of making a kick wheel where I could kick the flywheel and the wheel would rotate. So I'm in the process of making that. But for now, I make with my own hand. I don't use any wheel. So these are teapots. It's called kurinuki. So you just scrape out all the unwanted material that you want. So I think just go for it. Let your hands decide what shape it wants, and it will just come out nice. That's all I would say.
Thank you so much. In the interest of time, I would like to just ask one question for everyone here. And then maybe anybody else who has questions, I would request you to put it in the chat and we will share the questions with Gaurav later. So my last question for you is that over here, anyone who wants to get into this field of afforestation, seed saving, all the different things you've mentioned that you do along with afforestation, can you give 2 to 3 actionable steps or something that they can do right now that can help them towards that journey?
Yes. So all the methodology that we use is completely open source. Anybody can use it, and there are like several people, several companies who have gone through our open source manual, and they have started their own company. So we don't have any copyrights. All our material, all our research work that we are doing at Maruan or at Afforest is copy left. So it's open for everybody. We are also coming up with a video series. Like it was supposed to be shot in 7 countries, but we couldn't do it due to lockdowns. But we have done the India part in Punjab, and it is going to come very soon. It's in editing process, and that contains stepwise guide of how to create a forest wherever basically you are. So with whichever part you are, whatever forest used to exist, so how to mimic those lost forests in your own. So there will be a stepwise guide for that as well. So then you can basically start from the seeds, start from the old trees that are in your area, collect seeds, develop saplings, and like even if the space is like, don't plant individual trees, plant it in group. Just identify the guilds. Like if you go to a forest or a natural area, you will always find families of trees growing together. Like in the central India, if you go to those central India, Kana National Park, Palash and Tendu, you will always find that they grow together. Similarly, if you come to Rajasthan, the Miswak, Khejdi, Keep, you will always find them growing together. So just identify these patterns that are existing in your area. What trees are growing, like in near water streams, you will find Arjun and Jamun trees growing together. So always plant these, like even if you have a space of like radius of like 5 feet, like a 10 feet diameter circle, or just a 5 feet diameter circle, don't plant one tree in it, just plant that those families that you of native trees that you see. And this will, like once you grow this tiny forest, there will be 1,000 things you will learn which I won't be able to tell you here on call, because your hands will be in soil, you will be holding a plant. So in just one forest you will know how to hold a plant, how to plant a forest, or like everything, like a lot of skills will be upped just by planting this small forest.
Thank you so much. That is so helpful. And can they get all this information on the website of Afforest?
Yes, so we have removed the open source documentation because we are bringing this video series. And because that textual documentation, we have realized that because it's purely textual, there are a lot of errors or misunderstandings that could happen, or there is a lack of things that we would want to upgrade in the database of that. So you could mail us. We could definitely send you the Google Drive link of that database, but from website we have removed it because a lot of people were misinterpreting it and like growing wrong forest and choosing wrong species. So we are updating that entire material and it will be available in short while.
Great, that's so helpful. And we will, for everyone here who wants that, we will share whatever Gaurav shares with us on Basecamp. So you don't need to worry about that. You will get all the information. And yes, thank you so much, Gaurav, for being here and sharing all this wealth of knowledge that you have shared with us around afforestation and the beautiful space you live in. It was just wonderful to see. And thank you everyone for being here and listening to these stories. If you have any additional questions, I've seen that there are questions in chat which will get saved and will be shared with Gaurav. If there are ever any additional questions, please feel free to put it on Basecamp and we will try and make sure that those questions reach Gaurav.
Thank you. And I'm just posting these 2 links of Maruan. So latest things, what we are up to, and like when we'll be launching, like volunteers will be welcomed. We'll be posting. So if anybody is interested, they can have a look here.
Yes. Yes. I had posted this earlier as well. So I think some people, if you dropped off, they would have got it. But yeah, please do look at their Facebook and Instagram, and that will keep you up to date with the work that's happening. So thank you so much, Gaurav, for being here. And thank you, everybody. we have a 5-minute transition time between now and the closing, the harvesting space. So everyone's here, I think, for that, which is why I won't close the room. I'll just play some music. You can enjoy the music. And yes, thank you so much, Gaurav.
Bye.